Alright, Deadheads, first off, I would like to officially say that my meter rating for the premiere episode of Season 6 is going to be a low grade. Now, for me, that's an achievement on my rating scale because there's almost never going to be a high grade. That's reserved for, like, that one amazing, truly just out-of-this-world episode. But I would like to explain why I give this episode a low grade. And even though I say low grade, just keep in mind, I still believe this is one of my favorite premieres. Season 1 will always be nostalgic for me. However, I just love this premiere. One of the biggest reasons why I absolutely loved this premiere is because of the setup. And I'm glad I waited a little bit longer to do this video because I would just be coming back to talk about this now, and I most likely will be coming back to talk about this after the mid-season finale, and that's because I truly believe that this video set up three things off the top of my head perfectly. One, it set up where this story's going to go for not just the next couple episodes, but most likely the entire first half of this season. And I think that's absolutely very strong that you could take one episode, the premiere episode, and have the writing in such a way that the events that happen in this episode is going to directly affect the following 7 or 8 episodes after that. Now, I do believe, and that's why I said we're going to have to come back after the mid-season finale, because if I'm right, and this herd that's in the quarry is a part of No Way Out, and if they do utilize episode 3 dealing with the quarry, episode 4 is already confirmed to be a 90-minute Morgan flashback standalone episode, then we still have 5, 6, 7, and 8 to do. The wolves coming back, because they're definitely coming back. Hold on, let me put this in a better perspective. The group and everyone else linking up back at Alexandria from 5, 6, 7, and 8. Before they can fully deal with the aftermath, the wolves will attack again, and then we also have No Way Out. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen all at the same time, or if the wolves are going to come, attract the herd. Maybe they do get the herd kind of away from Alexandria, but now the herd's finally close, and this would actually explain when there's noise from the shootout. It will explain it better that these walkers heard that noise and they were heading away, but now they show them turning around. I think that's absolutely perfection. Because remember, before it was like, well, there's not many zombies around here, so what zombies are coming over? You know what I'm saying? And if they get the quarry herd here, they move them kind of away, they deal with shit at Alexandria, then when they fight the wolves, pop, 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 the noise brings the zombies. This is because of the first episode. The setup was so strong, I believe, and that is why, another reason, one of the big reasons why I love this episode. Not only that, the setup was strong for Enid, we see. Enid, if she was close to Alexandria when her parents died, that would explain why she only ran into a couple walkers after her parents died, because those walkers were getting trapped in the quarry. But then, even to add further, a lot of the walkers are getting trapped in this quarry, so the Alexandrians aren't that battle-tested. Now, we did see Sasha plucking off a couple walkers as they were getting to the gates. Yes, that most likely has happened in the past. We do know that Alexandria did have a couple people dealing with those walkers, so there was people, dealing with that shit, but not the majority. The majority could, after the walls were up, sit in there and chill that entire time. When you look at it like that, it's easy to understand how the wolves got in and just murdered a bunch of these people, because once the shit popped off, they went to Alexandria, they bunkered down, the quarry's filling up with walkers. They didn't see much. They might have had people with them that was helping protect them that died along the way, because they did say they did lose some people. So it starts adding up now that we look at the quarry. I think this quarry is possible depending on the landscape. Not in real life. Don't say, oh, I was there, it's perfectly fine. I'm talking about how they have it designed for the show in the world of The Walking Dead. Now, I want to move on to something that a lot of people hated, the flashbacks. Now, I'm going to just come right out and say, I'm going to guess a lot of the people that hated it were younger. Because everybody I asked who said, oh, I hate the flashbacks, it was ridiculous, I came right out and asked you, hey, listen, how old are you by chance? I'm trying to gauge this. And I think like the oldest person was like 15. I will still watch the shit out of some Abbott and Costello, and that is black and white. But that grew on me, you know, and I still feel that's going to be the same with a lot of the fans that say they didn't like the black and white. Now, if you are over the age of, you know, if you're in your 20s and 30s and 40s and you didn't like the black and white, well, then that's just a matter of personal preference. If you have a better idea with what they should have done visually, because keep in mind, you need a visual to show people, because there's a lot of fans in this fandom that get easily confused. That's a fact. Again, though, I think it's just your personal preference, because if they did the cloudy edges or anything like that, I would have been in the same boat you are. I think that is just a gimmick. I don't think the black and white is a gimmick. I think that is a very easy format to use to show flashbacks. The cloudy imagery and the stylized bullshit for flashbacks, I find it distracting. I think it's a gimmick. I think it's ridiculous. So I feel you on that aspect. But if you have a different opinion, if you want them to do something different or wish they did something different, leave that in the comment box. Express your opinions on that one. And before we get into another big topic, I want to tell you guys, Morgan did go back early. A lot of people are still asking how the hell Morgan got back. If you rewatch it, when Carter gets killed, Morgan is sent back. Now, another thing that's interesting is the length of the horn. I seen a couple people commented that said they played episode 1's horn length at the same time as episode 2's horn length. Now, I didn't do this, but the people who commented said that it's pretty much the same length or close to it, which means that by the time Rick and them are running off, the horn stops because Morgan stops it. That leads to some more interesting conversation, because how did Morgan get back? How quick are they? Now we know if the horn really only went off for a couple minutes. Now we know that, or not even a couple minutes, it might have even only been about 60 seconds. Now we know that they most likely went right back to dealing with the herd and not messing with going back to Alexandria. We know that because they didn't show up in episode 2. And finally, I want to talk about the main reason why I love and respect the shit out of the premiere episode of The Walking Dead. And this is probably one of my biggest influences, or the biggest reasons why I think this is one of the best premieres yet, is because the use of transitions from season 5 into season 6, and also combining that with setting up the story all in one friggin' episode. Setting up the story that's going to define almost an entire first half of the season. Combining those two aspects, the transitions and the setups, into one gorgeous, interesting, detailed, I mean, every scene had meat in it, even though it might not have been action, don't get me confused. Every scene, in my opinion, had meat to it. And that is why I thought this is one of the best episodes. Again, I love it, I respect it, and I think it still, now, after seeing this episode 6 or 7 times, I think it is one of the best episodes in my opinion. Leave your thoughts and opinions about the premiere episode after you have watched it a couple times. If you watched it, and I'm going to be dead honest, if you only watched it the once and you haven't went back and rewatched it, save your opinion. Go back and rewatch that shit once, twice more, and then come back. Clear your mind, go back, rewatch it, come back with a fresh attitude, and leave some fresh comments in that comment box. Don't just recycle some comments. Alright? Thoughts and opinions down below. I'm done talking. It's your turn.
Subscribe now.